On this video we're gonna make a sneaker collection display with Reese's LED lights, so let's get into the process. The board that I have is 30 cm width, but this shelf is gonna be 35, so I need to add a 5 cm slat to get that width. I make the edges flat and square with my jointer to make sure both pieces match perfectly. Then I glue them up together. I need two boards like this for this project, but I don't have as many clamps to clamp both at the same time. I clamped one board first, let it dry a couple hours so I can take off the clamps and work on the second board. But in the meantime, I cut the pieces to make the shelves. Each board is going to have 8 shelves, that means 16 for both. They are hollow shelves which are made with a solid wood frame and 2 pieces of plywood. The shelves are going to be 4 cm thick, so if I'm using 4 mm plywood, the width of this piece is gotta be 32 mm. Shelves are 35 at 25 cm, so I need 32 pieces of each length for making all the frames, all of them with a 45 degrees angle cut. Once I have all the pieces ready, I start to assemble the frames. I use glue on the joints and brad nails from the sides. This will keep the front as clean as possible. Then I make sure they are nice and square. The following step is to breaking down the plywood slightly bigger than the frame so I can flush trim with the router. When cutting the plywood, keep the good side up. This will ensure a smooth surface from any tear out or splintering. Next, I attach the plywood on one side of the frame with glue and brad nails. This is how the edges look like. I flush trim those edges with the router and now we can see how different it looks. I'm going to install a Reese's LED lights to the shelves. So I find the center of the shelf and trace out a circle to fit the body of the light. Then I cut the hole using a jigsaw. Next I tested the hole. This kind of lights have 2 spring clips that help to hold the light in place. The trim has to be flush with the shelf surface. I remove the light and this hole is gonna act as a template for the rest. There are 2 shelves that don't need the holes, those are the ones from the bottom. Once I finish the holes, I attach the plywood on the other side. Then I repeat the flush trim with the router. I use wood filler to fill the nail holes and any other imperfection. While the wood filler is drying, I come back to the boards and cut them into size. I sand one face of the boards using a 80 grit to clean the rough part. Then I use my orbital sander with a 100 grit sandpaper and continue sanding the shelves. They look pretty nice after this. I continue by marking the spacing between the shelves on the board edges. They are 25 cm from each other. Then I start attaching the shelves to the board with glue and screws. The board is a little bit wider than the shelves, so I can sand the sides after attaching the shelves and ensure the sides are nice and flush. Next I use sand the sides smooth with my orbital sander. I'm making some holes on the back side of the board so I can run through the wires and connect the light from each shelf to the power source. The back is going to be against the wall and I need to make a recess to hide the hard wire. I'm making this recess with the router and the dip got to be enough to insert the wire having a flush surface. Let's see how it's going to work. Yeah, looks good. Now it's ready to paint it. I'm applying 3 coats of white paint to get a consistent finish. I mix this fast drying paint with thinner so I let it dry just for some minutes between cuts. After I finish with the painting, it's time to work on the hard wire. I cut small pieces of wire and strip in the ends to make the connections. I disconnect the transformers that come with the lighting, and what I'm going to do is to connect that transformers to the wires I just have cut. I'm using electrical tape to grab the connections. For each display unit I need 7 components like this. The one from the top shelf is going to be connected to the main wire. Then I put the other lights through the back holes, leaving the transformers inside the box. We got the wire ends to the back side so we can connect them to the main wire. I strip the main wire where the wire ends are, I twist them together and grab the connections with electrical tape. Next I start connecting the lights to the transformers. That's pretty fast cause we have the push connectors. Finally I insert the light unit. Just press the spring clips and slide into the hole until the light clicks into place. Then I connect it to the power source and see how it works. The display unit that is connected to the power source has a power out to connect the second unit. I move forward to the installation. I drill 6 holes to each unit to attach it against the wall. I drill the holes in the wall and insert wooden dowels so I can screw the shelf to the wall. I hold the shelf in place using a block in the bottom. Then I continue attaching the second unit. I make sure it is on level and having the same space all the way respect to the other. I repeat the same as the previous one to attach it. At the end I connect the wires between the display units and patch the screw holes with wood filler and paint. Thanks so much for watching and I'll see you in the next video.